The murder of JONBENÉT Ramsey, a 6-year-old beauty pageant contestant from Boulder, Colorado, has captivated the public and generated numerous theories since her tragic death in December 1996. The case remains one of the most infamous and widely publicized unsolved murder mysteries in the United States. JONBENÉT Patricia Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990, to John and Patsy Ramsey. The family was well off, with John being a successful businessman who worked in the high-tech industry. Patsy was a former beauty queen, and JONBENÉT herself had been competing in child beauty pageants since the age of 4. She was described as a cheerful, lively, and confident young girl, often seen performing in pageants with elaborate costumes and makeup. The Ramsey family lived in a large home in an affluent neighborhood in Boulder, a city known for its picturesque setting and relatively low crime rates. The house was spacious and JONBENÉT had her own room on the second floor. The Ramsey family appeared to be well-liked and well-respected in the community. However, the circumstances surrounding JONBENÉT's death would later reveal a much darker side to their seemingly perfect life. On December 26, 1996, JONBENÉT was found dead in the basement of her family's home. The morning started like any other. Patsy Ramsey, JONBENÉT's mother, awoke at around 5 a.m. and discovered a ransom note on the stairs leading to the second floor. The note, written in a large, clear hand on a piece of Patsy's own stationery, demanded $118,000 for JONBENÉT's safe return. The sum was suspiciously close to the amount of John Ramsey's recent Christmas bonus, leading to speculation that the note could have been a hoax or a setup designed to divert suspicion. The note was unusually long, 3 pages in total, and contained numerous oddities. It was written in an almost theatrical tone, with references to the bad guys and demands for the family to comply, threatening harm to JONBENÉT if the police were contacted. The ransom note also contained numerous instructions, such as the family needing to stay in the house and follow certain procedures, which struck investigators as strange and overly calculated for a typical kidnapper. The Ramseys immediately called, and law enforcement arrived at the scene within minutes. However, JONBENÉT was not found during the initial search of the house. The police did not immediately secure the house as a crime scene, allowing family and friends to move freely through the house. The lack of a proper investigation protocol at this early stage would later come under heavy criticism. At approximately 1 p.m., John Ramsey and a family friend, Fleet White, began searching the house again. John Ramsey eventually discovered JONBENÉT's body in the basement of the home, hidden in a small room near a furnace. JONBENÉT was lying face up, covered with a white blanket, with duct tape over her mouth and a cord tied around her neck. The coroner's later report would confirm that she had been strangled and suffered blunt force trauma to her head. Her death was officially ruled as a homicide, but at that time no one knew who had done it. The house had no signs that an intruder had broken in, which led investigators to consider the possibility that the killer was someone familiar to the family. Additionally, the ransom note, which had been found inside the house, indicated that the perpetrator might have been someone who knew the layout of the home. As mentioned, the ransom note was peculiar and very specific in its demands. While ransom notes are typically brief and to the point, this one was detailed, over the top, and almost theatrical in tone. Its length and unusual language seemed out of character for a typical kidnapper. The forensic investigation found foreign DNA in JONBENÉT's underwear, which did not match any of the Ramsey family members or known suspects at the time. The discovery of DNA suggested the possibility of an intruder, but the DNA evidence would later become the subject of much debate due to issues of contamination and other factors. The location of JONBENÉT's body in the basement was striking because it suggested that the killer had staged the scene. It was highly unlikely that an intruder would have taken the time to move the child's body into such an out-of-the-way space. This led to the theory that JONBENÉT might have been killed inside the house, and the scene was staged to look like a botched kidnapping. In the aftermath of JONBENÉT's discovery, the behavior of the Ramsey family was scrutinized. John and Patsy appeared relatively calm in the face of their daughter's death, which many found unsettling. However, some also suggested that their behavior might have been influenced by the shock and trauma of the event. The investigation into JONBENÉT's death initially focused on the family. The police treated John and Patsy Ramsey as suspects early on, There were allegations that the parents, particularly Patsy, might have been involved in a cover-up, or that JonBenét's death might have been the result of an accident. In 1999, a grand jury heard evidence from the Boulder Police Department and decided to indict John and Patsy Ramsey on charges of child abuse resulting in death. However, the district attorney at the time, Alex Hunter, declined to file charges citing insufficient evidence. This decision sparked outrage, as many believed the grand jury's decision pointed toward a potential cover-up. Over the years, forensic analysis of the DNA found at the crime scene became a central point of controversy. The DNA did not match any of the Ramseys, which initially pointed to an intruder. However, some suggested that the presence of an intruder was unlikely due to the lack of forced entry and other evidence. The debate between whether the DNA pointed to an intruder or an accidental contamination continued for years. Burke Ramsey, JonBenét's older brother, came under some suspicion as well. Some theorists suggested that Burke might have accidentally killed his sister during a dispute, and that his parents covered it up to protect him. In a 2016 interview, Burke Ramsey insisted that he had nothing to do with his sister's death. While some continue to speculate about his involvement, no evidence has ever linked him directly to the crime. In 2006, a man named John Mark Carr was arrested in connection with JonBenét's death after he confessed to killing her. Carr's confession, however, was quickly discredited because forensic DNA evidence proved he was not involved in the crime. His false confession served only to complicate an already complex case. Over the years, numerous theories about who may have killed JonBenet have emerged. Some believe that JonBenét's death was the result of an accident, perhaps caused by a blow to the head during an argument or a violent outburst. This theory suggests that the family staged the scene to make it look like a kidnapping gone wrong. This has been a common theory, although no conclusive evidence has ever supported it. Another prominent theory suggests that an intruder, possibly someone who had been stalking the Ramsey family or had a vendetta against them, broke into the house and murdered JonBenet. The lack of forced entry, however, casts doubt on this theory. Some have speculated that JonBenét's older brother Burke may have accidentally killed her in a fit of rage or jealousy, possibly in retaliation for something minor. The theory suggests that the parents then covered it up, staging the ransom note and fabricating the story of a kidnapping. Some theorists have pointed the finger at Patsy Ramsey, suggesting that she was responsible for JonBenét's death, either out of frustration or in a fit of rage. However, no physical evidence has ever supported this theory, and Patsy Ramsey always maintained her innocence. The investigation was reopened several times in the years after JonBenét's death, and in 2008, new forensic evidence, including DNA analysis, helped clear the Ramsey family of direct involvement in the crime. In 2016, a report by the Boulder Police Department revealed that DNA evidence from the crime scene did not match any of the family members or any known suspect, and the possibility of an intruder was once again raised. Despite the numerous investigations and widespread media coverage, the identity of JonBenét's killer remains a mystery. The case has been the subject of multiple books, documentaries, and TV specials, with new theories and suspects continuing to surface. The Ramsey family has consistently maintained their innocence, and JonBenét's death continues to haunt not only the family, but also the public, leaving the world to wonder who killed JonBenet Ramsey and why.